The entertainment world is buzzing with one of the most awkward and shocking celebrity encounters of the year, as Liu Yuning made a completely unexpected and uninvited appearance at what was supposed to be Zhao Lusi's intimate private gathering with her close friends. Why would one of China's most prominent actors show up unannounced at a private event he wasn't invited to, walking through the door like he belonged there while everyone inside froze in shock and confusion? The incident, which occurred last night at an upscale private dining venue in Beijing, has become the most dissected celebrity moment in recent memory as witnesses describe the palpable tension and awkwardness that filled the room the instant Liu Yuning opened that door and realized he just crashed a party where he clearly wasn't welcome. Zhao Lusi's friends, who had gathered for what was meant to be a relaxed evening away from industry pressures and public scrutiny, found themselves suddenly dealing with the presence of someone who had no business being there, creating a social nightmare that nobody knew how to handle. The questions are exploding across every platform. Did Liu Yuning genuinely not know he wasn't invited? Or was this a deliberate power move? What is the real relationship between these two celebrities that would make him think showing up uninvited was acceptable? And most importantly, what happened in those excruciating moments after he walked through that door and everyone realized this was about to become the most uncomfortable evening of their lives? The gathering itself was supposed to be a casual, low-key celebration for Zhao Lusi with approximately 8 to 10 of her closest personal friends, people she's known for years outside the entertainment industry, childhood friends, and a few trusted colleagues who she considers genuine friends rather than just professional contacts. According to sources familiar with the planning, this was specifically intended as a break from the constant pressure and performance of celebrity life, a chance for Zhao Lusi to spend time with people who know her as a person rather than as a public figure, in an environment where she could relax without worrying about being photographed, recorded, or having every word and action analyzed and judged. The venue was chosen specifically for its privacy and discretion, a private dining room in an exclusive restaurant that caters to high-profile clients who value confidentiality and security. Invitations were extended personally and informally, with Zhao Lusi contacting each person individually to invite them, emphasizing the intimate and private nature of the evening. Liu Yuning's name was notably absent from that invitation list, making his eventual appearance all the more shocking and inappropriate. The moment Liu Yuning opened the door to the private dining room has been described by multiple people who were present as genuinely surreal and uncomfortable in ways that are difficult to fully convey. The group had been enjoying dinner, conversation flowing naturally, laughter filling the room as Zhao Lusi visibly relaxed in the company of people she trusts completely. Then, without any warning knock or announcement, the door opened and Liu Yuning walked in with a casual confidence that suggested he expected to be there and welcomed. The reaction was immediate and universal. Every conversation stopped mid-sentence, heads turned toward the door in unison, and expressions shifted from relaxed enjoyment to shock and confusion within a fraction of a second. Zhao Lusi herself, according to witnesses, looked absolutely stunned, her face showing a rapid progression of emotions from surprise to confusion to what some described as barely concealed annoyance or anger. The silence that descended over the room was so complete and awkward that even Liu Yuning, apparently dense though he may be to social cues, seemed to register that something was wrong with this picture, and that his presence was not generating the reception he might have anticipated. What makes this entire situation even more bizarre and inappropriate is that Liu Yuning apparently wasn't even alone. He walked in with one or two companions whose identities haven't been definitively confirmed but who appear to have been his own friends or associates rather than anyone connected to Zhao Lusi's group. This detail transforms the incident from potentially an awkward misunderstanding by one person into what looks increasingly like a deliberate intrusion, where Liu Yuning not only crashed a private event but brought additional uninvited guests with him, compounding the imposition and the awkwardness. The entitlement and social obliviousness required to walk uninvited into someone else's private gathering, while bringing your own friends along, is staggering, and witnesses describe Zhao Lusi's genuine friends being absolutely flabbergasted by the audacity of what they were witnessing. Several of her friends reportedly exchanged glances that clearly communicated mutual shock, and the question everyone was thinking but nobody was saying aloud: who does this guy think he is and why did he think this was acceptable? The immediate aftermath of Liu Yuning's entrance involved several excruciating seconds where absolutely nobody knew what to do or say, creating a social vacuum that everyone present describes as one of the most uncomfortable moments they've ever experienced. Zhao Lusi, to her credit, apparently managed to gather herself relatively quickly and addressed Liu Yuning directly, though accounts differ on exactly what she said and what tone she used. Some witnesses describe her as being diplomatically but firmly questioning his presence, asking if there was something he needed or if perhaps he had the wrong room or event. Others suggest her response was more direct and less diplomatic, essentially asking outright what he was doing there given that he hadn't been invited. Liu Yuning's response, according to various accounts, involved some combination of claiming he thought he was invited, suggesting there had been some miscommunication, or possibly trying to play the whole thing off as a casual drop-in rather than acknowledging the obvious awkwardness and inappropriateness. None of these explanations apparently satisfied anyone in the room, and the tension remained palpable as everyone tried to figure out how this situation could be resolved without creating an even bigger scene. The question of how Liu Yuning even knew about this gathering in the first place, given that he wasn't invited and it was intended to be private, is generating intense speculation and concern about privacy and information security. Several possibilities are being discussed by people trying to make sense of this bizarre situation. One theory is that he learned about it through industry gossip or mutual acquaintances who mentioned it without realizing the event was private and invitation only rather than a general industry gathering. Another possibility is that someone in Zhao Lusi's circle inadvertently or deliberately leaked information about the gathering to Liu Yuning or people connected to him, either through careless conversation or potentially with malicious intent to create exactly this kind of awkward situation. A more disturbing theory being discussed is that Liu Yuning or people working for him actively monitor Zhao Lusi's schedule and activities in ways that constitute invasion of privacy, though there's no evidence supporting this more serious accusation. Regardless of how he found out, the fact remains that he chose to show up uninvited, which demonstrates either catastrophic social intelligence failure or a level of entitlement and disregard for boundaries that's genuinely concerning. The broader context of Liu Yuning and Zhao Lusi's relationship in recent history makes this incident even more loaded and problematic than it would be as an isolated awkward moment. These are two celebrities who have been linked in various controversies and speculation over recent months, from the tax bureau allegations to the photo shoot safety incident to various other interactions that have fueled endless speculation about whether there's romantic involvement, professional tension, or some combination of complex dynamics between them. Against that backdrop, Liu Yuning showing up uninvited at Zhao Lusi's private gathering reads very differently than it would if they were simply casual acquaintances with no history. It looks potentially like an attempt to insert himself into her personal life in ways she hasn't consented to, or like a demonstration that he doesn't respect boundaries she's trying to establish. Some observers are interpreting this as borderline stalking behavior, while others suggest it might be misguided romantic pursuit, and still others think it could be about professional leverage or power dynamics, rather than anything personal. All of these interpretations are concerning in different ways, and none of them make Liu Yuning's behavior look appropriate or acceptable. Zhao Lusi's friends who were present at the gathering have reportedly been furiously protective of her in the aftermath of this incident, with several privately expressing anger at Liu Yuning for ruining what was supposed to be a relaxing evening, and putting Zhao Lusi in an uncomfortable position where she had to handle an unwanted guest while trying not to create a scene in front of her friends. Some are questioning why she continues to be put in situations where she has to interact with Liu Yuning professionally given the apparent personal boundary issues that keep arising. Others are suggesting that her management team needs to be more aggressive about establishing clear boundaries, and perhaps even pursuing legal protection, if his behavior continues to involve showing up where he's not invited or wanted. The protective instincts of genuine friends who care about someone's well-being rather than their commercial value or public image are on full display, and their reactions provide insight into how this incident is being perceived by people who actually know Zhao Lusi personally rather than just as fans or industry observers. The resolution of the immediate situation, according to available accounts, involved Liu Yuning being essentially but politely asked to leave after it became clear that his presence was unwanted and that the group had no intention of adjusting their private plans to accommodate uninvited guests. Different sources describe this playing out in various ways. Some suggest Zhao Lusi directly told him he needed to go. Others indicate that one of her friends took the initiative to firmly but diplomatically explain that this was a private event and his presence wasn't appropriate, and still others claim that venue staff were ultimately brought in to escort him out after it became clear he wasn't taking social cues to leave voluntarily. Regardless of the specific details, the end result was Liu Yuning departing, though apparently with some resistance or reluctance rather than immediate gracious acknowledgement of his mistake and apologetic exit. The fact that he apparently needed to be explicitly told to leave rather than immediately recognizing his error and removing himself only compounds the social awkwardness and raises further questions about his judgment and respect for boundaries. The public reaction to this incident, as details have leaked and spread across social media platforms, has been overwhelmingly critical of Liu Yuning and sympathetic toward Zhao Lusi. Fans and observers are expressing shock and disgust at what they view as completely inappropriate behavior, with many questioning what kind of person thinks it's acceptable to show up uninvited at someone's private gathering, and then doesn't immediately leave when it becomes clear they're not welcome. The incident is being compared to various other celebrity boundary violation stories, and not favorably for Liu Yuning. Some are connecting this to broader patterns they claim to see in his behavior toward Zhao Lusi, arguing this is part of a pattern of not respecting her boundaries or autonomy. His remaining defenders are struggling to find explanations that make his actions look acceptable, with most falling back on claims of miscommunication or misunderstanding that nobody else involved seems to corroborate. The damage to his public image from this incident may be more severe than from previous controversies because it's so clearly and obviously inappropriate behavior that requires no complex technical knowledge or industry insider information to recognize as wrong.